right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. So I'm really happy to have Nathan here. Nathan, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so looking at your background, I see that sports was the early part of your life.
Very much so, and it still holds a major part in my life.
What's been your experience transitioning into the coding and roofing business?
I went and worked for a company called Feld Entertainment, who is actually the parent company of what was Ringling Brothers, and handled a handful of different markets, and kind of came to the understanding that at that point in time, being in an office setting wasn't really my bag. It wasn't cut out for me. Made a phone call to my dad, who was in oil and gas at the time, and had him make a couple phone calls. And that's when I delved into the oil and gas industry. And I spent the better part of the next 12 years working oil and gas in various different positions, from roughnecking out in the field and learning how the drilling actually takes place, to going into more of a technical position in the field with helping with directional drilling. Unfortunately, the oil and gas industry has such a high fluctuation of up and downs that the last company I was working for, they basically liquidated the division I was in, and there was no more job for me at that point. Now, fortunately, one of my fraternity brothers had started a foam and coatings company up in Dallas. And we had been talking about it for about 6 months up until that point of he's leaning on me for a business insight, if you will. And as soon as I got the layoff call from the oil field company I was working for, he was like, perfect timing.
What have you learned from going from, kind of managing a business and operation and being an actual owner?
So there's definitely some hardships in what I learned in education versus actually putting it into practice. So it's been a large learning practice. Fortunately, I've had some very good mentors in the industry and had the opportunity to work very closely with the owner of another business. Jeff and I worked together for about 4.5 years before I had left to focus on the Houston market. And in that time frame, I kind of was able to see behind the scenes and a lot of business aspects of things that I never really had thought about, be it from acquiring the insurance and the grade of insurance, because that wasn't really something that would have been discussed in an entrepreneurship program because it was very broad.
When someone talks to you potentially about moving into the roofing industry as a career opportunity or wants more information, what are some of the things you tell them?
Some of the things that I focus on is make sure that your education in regards to what you're getting into is sound. There's a lot of misinformation I'm finding across the board, and to make sure that you do your research in what kind of materials you're going to be working with, and lean on the manufacturers. They're the ones that have all the knowledge, and when it comes down to scopes of project, they're going to be the ones that are going to direct you on what the best course of action for that specific roof is going to be in that case. I may have the best idea in the world, but in communication with the manufacturer, I come to find out that maybe that scope isn't the best one, and what they're telling me is going to be the best way to go about it. And they're the ones that are issuing the warranty. So you want to make sure that you're following those procedures absolutely to the T.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you, but you wanted to share?
I love to see where this industry as a whole, with the specific of coatings, is really starting to go, because there's so many benefits for the property owner that unless the complete substrate, or if we're talking about a metal roof, is completely rusted out, there's so many options for them to rehab their facility, regardless of what the size may be. And that they stand a greater possibility of saving money in the long term, seeing energy benefits from it, from environmental impact, and all of those kind of things. So it's definitely been a great eye opener, and I love to be able to help people understand that. Like I said before, there's a great misconception in Houston And in the South, for a lot of cases of a coating is just painting the roof. And it's far, far more than just painting a roof.